Hello and welcome to Turtle WoW News with Vrograg. I'm Vrograg Fishlayer, your reporter orc, here to bring you all the news and happenings here on Turtle WoW for the week of July 4th, 2023. I am broadcasting from Hillsbrad Foothills because the captain at Reventusk Village said my recording equipment was quote-unquote bad juju. So I made my way inland and thought to record from here. Enough about me though. We have a lot to cover, from some server announcements to last week's changelog, market watch, and our feature story about evil twins. So let's get right into it. I'm the orc, and here's the news. Our top story this week was broken during an official announcement by Torta that there was server instability issues. On June 30th, around 10:30 a.m. East Coast Standard Time, the announcement came out that the server was having issues because of malicious attacks. Though the gameplay server itself seemed to remain online, many of the accessory tools like the database, the client download, and other web utilities were not working. If we use the first pings in general as a vague guidepost, we can see that it took about an hour for the rest of the team to turn the ship around and make the announcement. Nice, fast, responsive work, Turtle Team. The announcement included advice for any players on Turtle WoW who have used their passwords elsewhere to change their passwords as soon as possible for security reasons. And it claimed that 90% of attacks like this came from gold sellers. I was able to speak to community manager Acalex for more clarification on this matter. According to the team, this is a normal gold seller attack vector. RMT teams will use a botnet or a network of malware-infected computers to try listings of leaked passwords and screen name combinations to gain access to their accounts. If they are successful, everything on the character will be liquidated and shuffled around to other various gold mules on the server. This explains why everyone from the Turtle WoW team was encouraging players to update their password. Furthermore, Acalex characterized the war on RMT as slowly winning, since these attacks don't come cheap. According to an article written in 2022 by Gaurav Mohan in Gulf Business Magazine Online, attacks like this can cost between a few $1,000s and perhaps upward of $7,000. It is nice to see the gold sellers finally paying for once, and I for one hope this perceived desperation makes them lose the will to keep trying. Remember to change your password regularly, and if you are concerned that your previous passwords might have been leaked, make sure to check out the website haveibeenpwned.com. Links to the article and the web tool will be in the video description below. Now back to the game. Let's take a look at a trio of impactful changes that came to players with the last changelog. Zanzas and Blasted Land buffs all have had their unique 5 tag taken off, allowing players to accrue as many as they want to of the powerful consumables. The Blasted Land buffs also had the restriction of a 1-hour cooldown removed from them as well, though a player can still only have one of them active at a time. The third change came in the form of allowing players to trade the powerful Argent Dawn rep turn-in weapon enhancements of Blessed Wizard Oil and Consecrated Sharpening Stones. Previously, players could apply these buffs to weapons directly within a trade window, like one would do with an enchant, but now these items can be freely traded between players. This even means that they can be freely traded on the auction house like other oils and sharpening stones. This all seems to have come about as a result of a post by Formusin Balake on June 23rd. In it, he asked for a little candy to keep the 1.16.6 hype up. His interpretation of a sugary snack called for mostly consume convenience for high-level players capable of gathering these items. Including the changes that were mentioned beforehand, there was another proposed change. He also wanted the tea leaves required for the repeatable A Warm Feeling quest to be group loot items rather than one per alkin killed, to promote player teamwork and reduce toxic tagging. Tea with sugar is a staple for players as a substitute for health stones and demonic or dark runes. The tea proposal was shot down personally by Torta, who mysteriously mentions having different plans for tea, before adding that the other proposals were acceptable. We have been keeping a close eye on this development, and we'll have a small addition about the new and unusual change from vanilla behavior this is having on the auction house in the Market Watch segment. For now though, I'd just like to congratulate all the healers who are exalted with Argent Dawn who now have something they can do with all their Scourge Stones. I hope you didn't delete them. Our final top story is a quick addendum to the ongoing Fire Festival Azeroth has been enjoying. According to traditional patch notes for Vanilla WoW, the Fire Festival normally ends on July 5th, but in last week's changelog it was announced that the Fire Festival will be extended for another week. This means the server has most likely until July 12th to take advantage of the holiday fun. The added week is mostly to make up for some issue quests were having initially, and were even still being fixed as recently as last week's changelog, including adding the Captured Flame to the Horde side of the festival, and the Fire Festival quest being made available to the Alliance. The dungeon bonfires for the quest A Light in Dark Places was also giving out the wrong fires. That has been corrected since. It seems as though the Summer Flame will burn a bit brighter, so now it is a great time to catch up if you missed it, and enjoy dancing around the festival pole with all your friends for a little while longer. Now, let's go take a look at the auction house news with Market Watch. Welcome to Market Watch, where I break down the big market trends on the shared faction auction house here on Turtle WoW. All pricing data is retrieved from superduperauctions.com, and we thank them for their help in making our market data available for you. Normally on Market Watch we don't have much news to report on, but this week is a little different in the wake of the changelog that made certain items tradable, and other big buff-related items suddenly in high demand. First, there were two new additions to the auction house, the Blessed Wizard Oil and the Consecrated Sharpening Stones, which have both debuted this week around the high 4 gold mark each. We likely won't add them as a stock we follow, but we are excited to have another market trend to pay attention to. Meanwhile, bijous, which are used to make Zanzas, have seemed to be able to keep up with demand as it has faced little price variation. Likely there are farmers that have vast stockpiles that could pivot quickly to keep up with the surge in demand. However, the Blasted Land buff materials did not fare so well. Since these items were capped much more readily by limited mob spawns than bijous and coins from Zul'Gurub, farmer stockpiles dwindled in the face of a spike of demand. None exemplify this price volatility more so than the Blasted Boar Lung, which peaked nearly 14 times its normal price. It has since mellowed out, but remains nearly 3 times its pre-changelog value. Developers may want to take note of the limited drop rate and availability of mobs that drop these going forward. Now let's get into stocks, with one last bit of news. Today we're debuting a new stock we'll be following, Stone Scale Eel. I received a comment weeks ago that the little slippery guy was a good bellwether for tanks spending gold, since its oils are used in flasks of titans and armor potions. Since I didn't have any representative on the fish market, I thought it might be worth a try. Thanks for the suggestion, AnnaReal4562. I won't be adding its value to the SNV6 quite yet, but I still think it's worthwhile to give fishers of Azeroth a peek into the market as well, since most other professions are represented. So here it is, the Stone Scale Eel for the last 2 weeks. This one is cheap enough to keep in silvers, and it certainly does have some market activity. In the last 2 weeks, the price seems to correct to about half a gold per eel, though supply and demand can swing its value up and down about 50% during peak hours. Now back to the stocks that make up the SNV6. Starting with Black Lotus, whose 2-week chart is expanded because of a massive spike on the 28th, reached a price of 25.85 gold for a short while, and another smaller spike around the 1st, getting it to be in the low 20s. While small price spikes might be exciting, we can see as we zoom out that the price preserved roughly its normal value. Grom's Blood has had a quiet last few weeks, sticking closely to the 1 gold mark. It is starting to look like word is out about the value of Grom's Blood, since on the long trend chart, it has been slowly trending back down towards 90 silver. But limited nodes and high demand mean it will remain valuable and volatile. Cured Rugged Hides had a small rally late on the 25th, peaking over 25 gold, but otherwise has stuck between 20 and 22 gold the last 2 weeks. Historically though, the leather good is beginning to get cheaper and cheaper as more Salt Shaker cooldowns come online and leatherworking alts look to cash in. Arcane Crystals had a flagship day late on the 28th, peaking at 26 gold for a small window of time, which corresponds with a previous spike on the 23rd. The spikes, however, are short-lived, showing that the demand is volatile, but not the supply. The precious gem is showing slow and steady growth of about 13% since we've been keeping records. Perhaps it will become a nice reliable investment for the more cautious investor. Tailors these last 2 weeks have witnessed a slow and steady drop in the price of Mooncloth, starting at 26 gold and finishing at 23. While the recent trend might come as bad news for Moonwell campers, it does accurately reflect the pre-Mooncloth set hype bubble the server suffered through in late May. Now that the bubble has mostly been deflated, these prices might stay stable. The ever-steady Large Brilliant Shard seems to have mellowed out from previous weeks. This last 2-week look shows that the enchanting good has stayed steady in price and supply just above the 5 gold mark. And when looking further back, we can see how late May and mid-June really were outliers for the ordinarily steady magical crystal. Now to take a look at the market as a whole, it seems like the premier index fund, the SNV6, Turtle WoW market activity is around norms for mid-May, and more recently has begun to climb again. A steady market is a healthy one, meaning that there is modest player growth and development with a weaker presence overall of gold sellers. We at MarketWatch hope you find our continuing coverage of the auction house to be helpful for your time in Azeroth. Make sure to let us know if there is another stock you'd like me to cover, or any other burning market questions you might have. For now though, let's go to a quick PSA before getting back to the news. Stay tuned. This is a Turtle WoW public service announcement. Are you looking for a way to help contribute to the server? Then maybe you can help. The Turtle WoW Wiki is in dire need of people knowledgeable with Wikia and fandom source coding. I mean, just look how many pages the Wowpedia has compared to Turtle WoW. The Turtle WoW Wiki is the only place a person can go to look up all the custom content the server has, and guides about add-ons and client modifications, but it is still missing a lot of things, especially where old zones have small additions to them, and much of the Horde side is lacking as well. If you think you can help, then consult with the Turtle Wiki channel on the Discord, and check out the wiki itself to see where you can start. Only together can we make a better informed Azeroth. Thank you for your consideration. Now back to the program. The changelog from June 28th had a lot of small tweaks and fixes. A lot is even underselling it. In fact, the changelog had 49 points in total. I took some time to try and curate the biggest and most impactful ones for you, but there is a lot to get into, so let's go into lightning news mode. The custom dungeon inside Stormwind, known as Stormwind Vaults, is finally allowing Horde members to complete the 2 quests from the 2 quest givers just outside the vault itself. Coley Steamheart and Pepin Ainsworth can be found standing right outside of the entrance to Stormwind Vaults, which is a level 60 dungeon. If you're curious on how you might be able to get into a well-guarded city as a member of the Horde, you might want to check out this little-known sewer connector just outside the walls. If you're clever enough, you'd be surprised at just how accessible these quests are, because you don't want to be noticed in town. Have fun in the vaults, people of the Horde, but be careful. Even though you're trying to help the city, you're still going to get attacked. The much-prized Panther Hide Sack, a unique 18-slot bag that drops from High Priestess Arlok in the Zul'Gurub raid, had its drop rate adjusted from 12% to 16%. According to Balake on the GitHub, the drop rate, at least in Classic, which is often used as a good rule of thumb for certain drop rates, was unnecessarily lowered by 4%. Hoarders everywhere rejoiced. Though I could not find much about the why this particular subject came up, it seems as if the Turtle WoW team has made it so that the Dragonkin and lesser dragons guarding the nightmare dragons themselves can no longer be kited indefinitely. I'm not sure who might have been griefing with these, but I'm sure leveling characters will be happy to not have an angry level 60 plus elite dragon wandering up and killing them. Alterac Valley had yet again another fix to the enemy mobs that spawn in the battleground. The Winteraxe trolls in the previous bug fix were not despawning once the Snowfall Graveyard was captured, and evidently that fix made certain trolls spawn too quickly, while others weren't spawning at all. I did receive a report that this may also have been a light exploit, as some people would take advantage of the trolls' quick spawn rate to farm the trolls for gold and valuable drops. I'm happy to see this remedied and look forward to Alterac Valley working as intended once again. The final point in the lightning news has to do with a fix that came to transmogrification. Perhaps you've been walking through a city and seen a warlock with a Thunder Fury, or spotted a low-level character wearing tier gear. There was a long-standing exploit with fashion coins that would allow a player to attach a look onto a common tradable item, log out, log back in, and still be able to trade away the white quality item, even though fashion coins are supposed to make an item soulbound once a fashion coin is applied. It seems the days of tier 3 geared level 20 alts is over, though anyone who already has the hacked in transmogs still will be able to keep their outrageous looks, for now. Remember, looks can always be deceiving. This concludes the Changelog update. Now let's get to our short feature story. Evil Twin. An Easter egg for Star Trek fans, or an intended consequence for using engineering of questionable quality? That was the question facing the Turtle WoW team after Balake started a bug report about this debuff interrupting summons. Now, to get some context, we have to understand where this debuff comes from. When engineers use either the Dimensional Ripper or the Ultrasafe Transporter, there is a chance that the user can gain this debuff. Before the changelog, this debuff would prevent a summon from working if attempted by a warlock, making them waste both their time and a shard in the attempt. The debuff even lasted for a whole 2 hours. The only way to remove it was death. But was this always the intended effect of the debuff? That was the question bandied about in the GitHub. Concerned Turtler claimed that the Evil Twin debuff was working as intended, citing a Wiki article which corroborated this claim. That was when a developer stepped in and cited their evidence for having the debuff block summons. Gurky Turtle brought out a laundry list of evidence, a majority of which were archived conversations from classic Wowhead, all claiming that even as far back as 2006, the Evil Twin debuff blocked summons. Then, the bug tracker was closed by Gurky Turtle. But Balake was not satisfied. He requested a reopen of the bug, and this time he came bearing even more evidence to back his claim. He believed that these ancient posts being referred to were nothing more than fossilized troll posts, or perhaps a running joke. Not only that, but even the WoW Wiki had multiple back and forths about if Evil Twin even worked that way, showing that even the earlier historians weren't sure. Next was about a power user of the wiki, a certain person named Crazy Jack, someone who boasted over 13,000 wiki edits alone, and his final say was that Evil Twin didn't disable summons. To finish it all up, Balake even brought up a thread from the Classic Warlock Discord, which Balake claims is more or less an accurate snapshot of the 1.12 client. We can see here in the Classic Warlock Discord, users were confused as to why old Wowhead users were claiming that the debuff blocked summons as well, because clearly it worked for them. Not willing to wait for the Turtle WoW team to get back, Balake actually went ahead and made an official pull request on the open source vanilla client that the Turtle WoW client was built off of, called vMangos. Back on the Turtle WoW bug tracker, Gurky Turtle relented, saying that they would reopen the bug and discuss it with the team, noting that they would also see what the V-Mangoes team did, but did caution that Classic WoW wasn't the final say since it has its own share of inaccuracies. Later, they even offered more evidence they were able to dig up, showing just how much doubt the issue still had. And then it was announced. The Evil Twin debuff would no longer block Warlock summons. When I stumbled into this rabbit hole of a story, I went to Balake for comment about his deep digging on the topic. After some back and forth, I was able to get these quotes. A clueless person might never make the connection and just keep asking for summons, and wasting a Warlock's shards. For hardcore, it kills the biggest utility of Warlocks, because a hardcore can't die to clear Evil Twin, and it doesn't tick while logged off. They have to stay on for hours. I think the intent by Blizzard was for it to always have been a meme. People like trolling each other. The debuff didn't do anything, but it looked like it did something. Things snowball into viral memes. Turtle WoW News with Vrograg would like to thank Balake for all of his contributions to the show, either directly or in the behind-the-scenes work he does on the GitHub. You're a credit to the community. But what do you think? Is this just an unnecessary change that takes some of the fun flavor out of the game? Or was it a joke that ran a little bit too far in the nearly 20-year-old history of the game? Make sure to let us know. What a great week in Turtle WoW. Thanks for joining me, but sadly, that is about all the news I have to share. It's time I got back on the road for my next broadcast. Make sure to put a comment in the section below if you'd like to offer feedback or ideas for the news. If you'd like to reach out privately with a hot news tip, you can reach me in-game or try sending me a message on my freshly minted email account, vrogragfishlair@gmail.com. Last week, I had a great time streaming to celebrate having over 1,000 subscribers. To anyone who couldn't make the celebration stream, make sure to check out the VOD in the live tab of the channel. If time permits, I might try streaming again. I had a blast, and I think everyone who dropped by did too. Thanks to you all, from the no-lifer who plays Turtle WoW at every opportunity, to the casual fan who doesn't even understand what WoW is but likes hearing an orc talk like a news anchor. I even enjoy bumping into fans while I'm not recording. I appreciate all of you, and thanks for watching. That about does it for now. I wish you safe travels and hope to see you again. As always, remember, the deadliest weapon is knowledge.